Hey guys, it's X, and welcome back to Frost Tanking Heroics. I've decided to drop the whole blood tanking thing. I know I said I wanted to make one more blood tanking video, but every time I thought about making a World of Warcraft video, I thought, I should make another blood video. But, I don't know, to me, blood tanking was very boring. It's a very simple spec, and I know blood tanking is a very, very good tanking spec. I know as far as stats, HP, self-healing, and all that is concerned, I know it's a very good tanking spec. It's good for heroics, and it's good for raids. However, when it comes down to heroics, all you really do with a blood tanking spec is drop death and decay, and then spread your diseases. And effectively, you're done at that point. Usually the mobs are dead by the time your runes come back up, because DPS is so high these days. If they're not dead, then you just spam Blood Boil after that point. It's a very simple 3-step process, and if simplicity is what you're going for in tanking, then by all means go for blood. It's a great tanking spec, and in raids it can't be beat. There isn't a better Death Knight tanking spec than full-on blood, because you got such good healing, self-healing, and you have such high HP. So blood is very great. I'm not knocking blood. I'm just saying for me it's very boring. It's too simple, and you just kind of zone out while you're doing it, or I do anyway. So I've decided to stick with Frost. So welcome back to Frost Tanking Heroics. As far as Forge of Souls is concerned, what I like to do in here for the majority of the pulls is drop my Death and Decay. Once it's down, I'll immediately cast Howling Blast. Howling Blast will crit a good number of times, especially if you have your Death Chill ability already. I like to open up with Death Chill and Howling Blast a lot here, just because I like seeing the big numbers. But if Killing Machine is also up, then Howling Blast will crit as well. I like to have Killing Machine up before I open up a pool. So anyway, I'll drop my Death and Decay, and then I'll throw Howling Blast. And after that, I'll use one Blood Boil, and then I'll wait for my runes to cool down. So between Death and Decay, Howling Blast, and a Blood Boil, you'll have a lot of snap aggro, and it'll be very difficult for your DPS to pull aggro off of you. While you're waiting for your runes to cool down, it's generally a good idea to Rune Strike one target, and then click on the next one, Rune Strike that target, and then click on the next one, Rune Strike that target, and click on the next one, until your runes come back up. And usually when your runes come back up, you'll be ready to hit another Howling Blast. And that will solidify threat for you, and it'll be no problem holding aggro. From there, you can just play it however you want to play it. Oh, and as far as those little apparitions are concerned, you see me use my anti-magic shell there. Whenever the apparitions appear behind you, you should be ahead of your group since you're leading it through the instance. Whenever the apparitions appear behind you, don't be afraid to use anti-magic shell. Anti-magic shell will protect you from the blast. It's not a major blast, but it does help give you runic power to start the next fight, which is nice. And you should be using anti-magic shell a great deal, because it's only a 1-minute cooldown. It doesn't cost you anything to use it, except for maybe a little bit of runic power itself, but it quickly regenerates that runic power in the blast that you take. So it's a very fun spell. As you know, I make really good use of it, especially in here, because those casters can do a lot of damage, and those apparitions are great for filling up your runic bar before you start a fight. So anyway, as you can see here, I just opened up with Death and Decay, Howling Blast, Blood Boil, and then I just continue the fight as normal. Here comes another apparition. You can see me use anti-magic shell. Boom, fills up my runic bar, and then I start the next fight with a full runic bar. There are a lot of pulls where there's going to be one mob who doesn't fit in your Death and Decay. You'll drop your Death and Decay and it'll get like 4 out of the 5 mobs. Usually it's only going to be one mob who's in the back casting, so you can just use Death Grip to bring him back. And you can see me do that with this pull here. If you want to go back a couple of seconds when this pull starts, you can see me drop my Death and Decay and then immediately Death Grip the other mob in. So that's what we're doing here. Now, the reason we're in this particular instance, and the reason I've done it quite so much recently, is because you can see Vrodgrim there in the party list. If you're watching in high definition, you can see Vrodgrim. We call him V-Rod. He's been going after this, the trinket at the end here, the Scorpid Stinger, I think it's called, or something like that. It's a very good DPS trinket. He's been going for it for 3 weeks on his own, and he's DPS, so whenever he queues up for the dungeon finder, he doesn't find a group immediately, and he's been trying pretty hard to get this trinket, so he's asked me to help. So for the past week, I've been helping him out too. I've been helping him try to get this trinket, and we have not been able to get this trinket to drop. We've been picking Forge of Souls specifically, going to the end every time, and the trinket just won't drop. Thing about it is, his Death Knight got it just by chance on his first run. So now he's trying to get it on his Hunter, and he's just not having such good luck with it. So the first boss of this instance is named Bronjam, and he's a very simple boss to tank. There are really only 2 things that you need to watch out for, and I'll go into greater details on those in just a moment. Right here I give my healer a chance to get some mana, and then I charge on in. Open up with a normal rotation, Icy Touch, Plague Strike, Blood Strike, few Rune Strikes, and Obliterate until my runes are down. And what you have to watch out for is you're going to see a purple ray, and this is called Corrupt Soul. It looks kind of like a Warlock's Drain Soul spell that they use to get soul shards, I believe it is, or soul fragments, whatever. He does that. You're going to see the animation in just a moment, right there. When you see that, what you want to do is you want to pull Bronjam away from his target, because you're going to see a soul fragment pop up. When you see the soul fragment pop up, right there, look at my mouse cursor, click, and then Chains of Ice. So I cast Chains of Ice on that soul fragment, and I pull Bronjam away from it. If the fragment and Bronjam meet, it will heal Bronjam, so you want to make sure that those two don't meet. And to get that done, you have all the tools necessary. You are a Death Knight, so you can pull the boss back and Chains of Ice the soul fragment to make it very easy on your party to take out the soul fragment before he reaches Bronjam. Eventually, Bronjam will teleport to the center of the room. When he does this, he's going to start fearing random party members into those swirls of energy that he creates around the room that you can see swirling around there. He's going to fear random people into it. It does a lot of damage. You yourself may be the target, as he targets me in just a moment. If you get feared, there's no need to worry because you have Anti-Magic Shell. If you get feared, just let the fear run its course, and as soon as fear is done, cast Anti-Magic Shell and run back in. Your Anti-Magic Shell will protect you from most of the damage, and your healer will have no problem healing you. Alright, and if you've noticed, I've turned my UI off for that fight. I don't know why, it felt natural to me at that moment. I was like, you know what, I know I'm recording this for a video, let me turn off my UI to remove some of the clutter on the screen. And so I did, and it felt nice. So I decided to just remove it for the rest of this run too, except for the last boss, because the last boss you need to see my health for me to explain some things. And I accidentally Chains of Ice to myself right there, because those mobs have a spell shield that reflects magic, and I cast Chains of Ice like I like to do when a mob is nearly dead so I can get some distance on him and start the next pull, but it reflected back to me and the paladin had to cleanse me with my own Chains of Ice. I thought that was pretty funny. So anyway, against these big spectral wardens, you can use your Anti-Magic Shell to protect against their ghostly bolts that they do against the party. It's not a necessity, it's not a whole bunch of damage, but it can help the healer out a little bit. Alright, so here we have the Host of Souls, as you can hear as he yells whenever you pull him. I'm letting my I'm letting my healer get mana here, and again, you start off with a normal rotation. Icy Touch, Plague Strike, Blood Strike, Rune Strike, Obliterate. Alright, that puts all of your runes on cooldown. And you want to watch out for that Mirrored Soul. When you see him casting Mirrored Soul, which is those red lines going towards a different party member, you want to make sure and not do very much damage to the boss, because any damage dealt to the boss is dealt to whoever he has Mirrored Soul cast on. So don't do any damage when you see Mirrored Soul up. Just use your auto attack, which should be enough to maintain aggro, and let the healer heal whoever has Mirrored Soul on him. The Phantom Blast that you see him casting repeatedly, he will cast that at the tank a number of times. Like every chance he gets, he'll cast Phantom Blast on you. When he does, try to use Anti-Magic Shell. That will absorb the blast and give you a lot of runic power. And if you don't have Anti-Magic Shell up, then let the Phantom Blast hit you, and as soon as it does, start using Death Strikes. What you want to do against this boss is once you have your diseases up, you don't want to cast your diseases again. Instead, use Pestilence as much as you can, if you have the Glyph of Pestilence, to respread your diseases on them, to refresh them. And then every time you get hit by Phantom Blast, just use Death Strike, because Phantom Blast will hit you for a lot of damage, and you can heal yourself back up, relieving pressure on the healer. Look out for Wailing Souls, which is the spell he's casting right now. It's a clockwise motion that he does. He'll shoot this beam of energy towards the walls. Make sure you stay behind him while Wailing Souls is going on, and just use your normal rotation to keep aggro. As long as nobody stands within Wailing Souls, they'll stay alive, so it's a very great time for you to deal as much damage as you can. So, following these rules, he's a fairly simple target to take down. It's more of a nightmare for the healer than it is for the tank. Following those 3 simple rules is very easy for you, but the healer has a whole lot to keep up with. And unfortunately, you can see here, the trinket that we were looking for did not drop. So, I sent Rodgram a tell, and I'm telling him, dang it, man, again. So I guess we'll be doing this again tomorrow night. Anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching. It was really fun doing another World of Warcraft video. Look forward to more in the future, and I'll see you guys next time.